welcome. In the next lecture of radar and TV engineering. In, in the last lecture, we have discussed about the synchronization in between transmitter and the receiver, blanking pulses, resolutions, and composite video signal. In the last lectures, we have already discussed the scanning of an image, how the image is scanned and converted into the picture. So, in the transmission section, the scanning is done in four ways. We have already discussed the types of the scanning. Now, today we are going to discuss equalization pulses and what is the need of the equalization pulses in the TV system, amplitude modulation and vestigial sidebands, transmission efficiency, channel bandwidth. These are the main topic of this video lecture on radar and TV engineering. The main content of this video lecture is the introduction about the equalization pulses, need for equalization pulses, signal transmission, amplitude modulation, transmission efficiency, vestigial sideband transmission, complete channel bandwidth. So these are the main content of this video lecture. Today we will discuss the vestigial sideband, AM, and transmission efficiency. The objective of this video lecture to understand the basic concept of equalization pulses, to understand the basic concept of TV amplitude modulation, transmission section, and vestigial sideband modulation. Student will also learn about the transmission efficiency, vestigial sideband transmission, complete channel bandwidth. The outcomes of this video lecture, student will understand the concept of equalization pulses, need for equalization pulses in the TV transmission, signal transmissions, amplitude modulation, transmission efficiency, vestigial sideband that is known as VSB, complete channel bandwidth, and positive and negative modulation in the TV transmission system. So these are the basic fundamental in the TV system, in the TV transmission system. This is the book for the TV system, monochrome and color television, second edition by R.R. Gulati, by New Age Publication. This is the wonderful book for understanding of monochrome and the color television in the beginners of television. These are the references. Now, vertical separated sync pulse. In previous lecture, we already discussed the synchronizations between the transmitter and the receiver. And we have also discussed the composite signal. The composite signal consists the video signal, synchronizing pulses, blanking pulses. These complete make the signal in the transmission section. So this signal is known as composite video signal. Vertical sync pulse of duration 160 seconds is divided into the 5 pulses of duration 32 that to 4.7 on 27 by zero point 0.3 of period. This process is called a serrations. This 4.7 second on is separated to have horizontal synchronization, and it is given to differentiator. The serrated pulses are given to integrator to get it as a single sync pulse. This is the figure showing that the pulses at the second field and pulses at the end of the first odd field integrator output. So in the A figure, we have a end of the second field and first field, the end of the first field and second field, and the pulse for integrator is shown in the figure. So integrator is a device which is shown the output of the integrator after end of the second field triggering level after end of the first field. This is the time error trigger pulse for the vertical oscillator. But here for the odd and even field, there occurs time error due to the trigger level in both fields because of charging and discharging of the capacitor in the integrator. The time error due to trigger level of field is called as half-line discrepancies occurs. To avoid the half-line discrepancy, we are adding the equalizing pulses. Time error is because for the second field in the capacitor residual potential is 0, but for odd field charging occurs of first field, that is the 312.5 lines. So there is some residual voltage and half line discrepancy occurs. To avoid the half line discrepancy due to the time error in the trigger level, equalizing pulses are used. Clear? To avoid the half line discrepancy in the 625 lines, each field has 312.5 lines. So time error in a trigger level, equalizing pulses are used. These pulses are having the duration of 2.3 volts second on period and 27.4 volt second of period. Due to these pulses, time error is completely avoided. The pulses added before the vertical sync pulse are called as pre-equalizing pulse, and that added after the vertical sync pulses are called as post-equalizing pulse. Since the pulses are having a short duration 2.3 volts second, the capacitor is charged to only small value. So before the start of the vertical sync, during the both field, the capacitor is discharged to 0 level. Similarly, due to the post-equalizing pulses, this capacitor is discharged quickly. If the discharge is slow, then the trailing edge of integrator may false trigger the oscillator. The structure of the pre and post equalizing pulses are shown. Need for serrations or notching of vertically sync pulse. The horizontal sync pulses are available both during the active and the blank line periods. But there are the no sync pulse leading edges available during the 2.5 line vertical sync period. Horizontal sweep oscillator would tend to step out of synchronism during the each vertical sync period. Therefore, five narrow slots, 4.7 microsecond waves, are cut in the vertical sync pulse at intervals of 32 microsecond. Rising edges are used to trigger the horizontal oscillator. This insertion of short pulses, notching of the serration, broad field pulses. This is the showing that the need of the serration or notching of vertical sync pulse. The horizontal and the vertical sync pulses are separated using an integrator and differentiator. The circuit shows that the differentiator and integrator circuit. In this composite video signal is applied to the sync separator, through which the sync is separate and sync pulses is separated, and the output of this sync separator is integrated output or the differentiated output. The horizontal sync information is the extracted from the sync pulse trained by the differentiation, that is the passing the pulse train through the high power filters or high pass filter. Leading edges are used to synchronize the horizontal scanning oscillator. Synchronization of the vertical sweep oscillator in the receiver is obtained from vertical sync pulses by integrator, that is the low pass filter. So horizontal sync information is extracted from the sync separator by the differentiator, and the vertical sweep oscillator is used to in the receiver is to obtain the vertical sync pulses by integrator. So in the integrator we use generally low pass filter. In the differentiator we generally use high pass filter. It is seen that the synchronization of the vertical sweep oscillator in the receiver is obtained from vertical sync pulse by integrator low pass filter. Voltage built across the capacitor of the low pass filter corresponding to the sync pulse trains of both the field is shown in the previous figure. Shown in the figure, that is the pulse train at the sync pulse, integrator and differentiator. Each horizontal pulse causes a slight rise in the voltage across the capacitor, but this is reduced to zero by the time the next pulse arrives. Charging period is the 4.7 microsecond and discharging period is the 59.3 microseconds. But during the broad serrated region, capacitor has the more time to charge and only 4.7 microsecond to discharge. Situation is different from the beginning of the second field. Here the first horizontal pulse corresponding to the beginning of 330th line is separated from the first vertical pulse by 1/2 a line. Therefore, the voltage developed across the vertical filter will not have enough time to reach zero before the arrival of the first vertical pulse. Hence, the voltage developed across the output filter is somewhat higher at each instant as compared to the voltage developed at the beginning of the first field. That is, the oscillator get triggered a fraction of a second early as compared to the first field, upset the desired interlacing sequence. The vertical sink voltage is obtained by integrating the sink pulses. Normally, the output due to the or horizontal synchronized pulses reach zero before the vertical. However, at the end of odd field, the difference between the horizontal sink and vertical sink is only 0.5 H, which is the not sufficient for the voltage to reach the minimum level. This may create the error in the vertical sink timing. The problem due to the half-line discrepancy is solved by adding equalization pulses. This effect of these pulses is to shift the half-line discrepancy away from both the beginning and end of the vertical sink pulse. So that's why we require the equalization pulse. So these pulses are remove the discrepancy of the half line discrepancy in both horizontal and vertical fields. 5 pre-equalization pulses at 0.5 H interval before the serrated vertical sink pulse. 5 post-equalization pulses at 0.5 H interval after the serrated vertical sink pulses. Width of equalization pulses equal to the 2.3 milliseconds. This is the vertical sink pulse going up across the integrator capacitors. Field synchronization pulse trains of 625 lines TV system. How the field is scanned. Pulse train at the end of the second field. Field blanking period of 20 lines, and we have 12.5 blank lines. End of the second field, end of the first field. Pulse train at the end of the first field. So this is the vertical blanking period with pre and post equalization pulses and serrated sink pulses. Now, function of the vertical pulse train. By serrating the vertical sink pulses and providing the pre and post equalization pulses. The following basic requirements necessary for successful interlarge scanning are ensured. A suitable field sync pulse is derived for triggering the field oscillator. The line oscillator continues to receive the triggering pulses at correct intervals while the process of initiation and completion of the field time-based stroke is going on. It becomes possible to insert the vertical sync pulses at the end of the line after the second field and at the middle of the line at the end of the first field without causing any interlace error. The vertical sync built up at the receiver has precisely the same shape and timing on odd and even fields. Now, a list of the TV standards, which is followed by worldwide in all countries, that is the FCC, that is Federal Communication Commissions. Second is the NTSC, National Television System Committee. Third, CCIR, International Radio Consultative Committee. And SECAM, Sequential Clarius A Memory. And a part of this, we have a one system, that is the PAL, which is followed by Indian Asian countries, that is phase alteration by line. So these are the TV standards which is followed by different countries. Now, signal transmission, need for modulation, length of the antenna. Only one channel can transmit poor radiation at the low frequency. So signal is transmitted through the modulation or through antenna. We have the modulate the signal with the carrier, and this signal is transmitted through the electromagnetic field waves as a produced by the antenna in the air, and only one channel can be transmitted. Poor radiation is occur at the low frequency, so signal is transmitted at the high frequency up to UHF or UHF ranges. Most of the TV system use the amplitude modulation for the picture transmission and the frequency modulation for sound transmission. In the previous lecture, we have already discussed that the AM and FM, how is used in the transmission section of TV system. This is showing that the amplitude modulation, how the amplitude of the carrier is modified according to the modulating signal. So carrier is a wave or unmodulated carrier is given here. That carrier is a wave which carry our baseband signal or our information signal to the particular distance. So here we have a sine wave of high frequency, that is the very high from the modulating signal or baseband signal or information signal, that is the unmodulated carrier. In the amplitude modulation case, the when signal is superimposed on the carrier waves, then the amplitude of the modulating signal is changed. Sorry, the amplitude of the unmodulated carrier is changed accordance with the carrier, accordance with the modulating signal. This is the phenomena of amplitude modulation when two waves are superimposed then the amplitude of the unmodulated high frequency carrier is changed with respect to the modulating signal, which is shown in the figure. So modulated wave have an amplitude of EC plus EM cos omega mt and minus EC plus EM cos omega mt. Let carrier be the voltage having the EC is equal to the EC cos omega CT, and modulating signal has a voltage that is EM is equal to the EM cos omega mt. The modulated signal E is equal to the EC plus K EM cos omega mt cos omega CT. So it will become EC 1 plus M cos omega mt and outside of the bracket that cos omega CT, where the modulation index M equal to the K EM upon EC. The modulation index M is defined as the K EM. EM is the peak value of the voltage in the baseband signal upon peak value of the voltage in the carrier signal. So when KEM equal to the EC, then modulation is the 100%. Equation 1 can be written as that E is equal to the EC cos omega CT plus MEC upon 2 cos omega C minus omega MT minus MEC upon 2 cos omega C plus omega MT. Equation 2 shows that the amplitude modulated signal has a three component. One, carrier at the frequency omega C, upper sideband frequency and lower sideband frequency. From this figure, we are able to understand that the amplitude modulation has the carrier component and lower sideband and the upper sideband. In the lower sideband, the frequency is less and the upper sideband frequency is high. That is the FC plus FM, and in the case of the lower sideband, the frequency is the FC minus FM. The maximum frequency of the modulating signal is the 5 megahertz in the 625 B system. That is the 625 PAL system has the video bandwidth signal is 5 megahertz, and the modulated signal will have a bandwidth of 10 megahertz for upper sideband and the lower sideband. The attenuation slope at the upper and the lower frequency will have 0.5 megahertz each. From the figure, we are able to understand that the attenuation slope, that is the having the frequency 0.5 megahertz. If we add a guard band of 0.25 megahertz, so there is the total will be 11.25, because guard band is added in the spectrum 0.25, and attenuation slope upper sideband and lower sideband with picture carrier, sound carrier is given. So total channel bandwidth is the 11.25 with the 5.5 megahertz as a lower sideband and 5.5 as a upper sideband with 0.25 guard band. Now we have a transmission efficiency for amplitude modulation. The total power transmitted PT is equal to the PC plus PLSB plus PUSB. That is the power in the carrier frequency, power in the lower sideband, power in the upper sideband, and it will comes PC plus m square 4 PC plus m square by 4 PC, and it will comes PC bracket 1 plus m square by 2. It is clear that the carrier does not carry any information. Also, the USB and LSB contain a redundant information. We can serve the transmitted power if we do not transmit the carrier. Similarly, we can increase the efficiency if transmit only one side band. However, the suppressing the carrier require a very stable and accurate local oscillator at the receiver side. A pilot carrier need to be transmitted if we are suppressing the carriers. In the summary, the vestigial sideband transmission is the best choice for the TV signal transmission. So we come and discuss the vestigial sideband for transmission of the TV signal. So vestigial transmission or VSD or vestigial sideband transmission, the bandwidth of the 11.25 megahertz reduced to the available number of the channels, increase the power requirement of transmitters. So part of the lower sideband is removed by the filter, and to overcome the difficulty in the most of the TV system use the vestigial sideband transmission. In 625 line system, the use and 0.75 megahertz of the LSB, lower sideband. So the other part of the lower sideband is removed by the filter or suppressed by the filter. Only 0.75 megahertz is used. This will ensure that the low frequency information, which is a very critical, is not lost. The filter characteristics is in this case need not be very sharp. So total channel bandwidth will becomes 7 megahertz with the picture uh, and sound carrier frequency is given in this full USBs, and the guard band is 0.25 megahertz. This is the complete channel bandwidth. In the complete channel bandwidth, we have a total channel bandwidth in the 7 megahertz in the 625 line system. The color subcarrier is at 4.433 megahertz, and picture and sound has a 5.5 megahertz bandwidth, and 1.25 megahertz is given to the lower sidebands, and the upper sideband pictures amplitude versus frequency graph is shown here. The sound signal is sideband is 150 kilohertz. The sound carrier is always positioned at the extremity of the fully radiated upper sideband, and hence is 5.5 megahertz away from the picture carrier. This is its logical place since it makes for minimum interference between the picture and sound signal. The FM sound signal occupies a frequency spectrum of about plus minus 75 kilohertz around the sound carrier. However, a guard band of 0.25 megahertz is allowed on the sound carrier side of the television channel to allow for adequate inter-channel separation. The total channel bandwidth thus occupies the 7 megahertz, and this represents a band space saving of 4.25 megahertz per channel when compared with the 11.25 megahertz space, which would be required by corresponding double sideband signal. The frequency axis is scaled relative to the picture carrier, which is marked as 0 megahertz. Reception of the vestigial sideband signal. The SSB signal, that is the single sideband signal with the carrier, cannot be detected using an envelope detector. However, if the carrier amplitude is large compared to the sideband amplitude, we can still use envelope detector. In the vestigial sideband transmission system, the video signal up to the 1.25 megahertz is transmitted on both the side bands. Hence, the amplitude of the detector output will be twice for these frequencies compared to the higher frequency range. This gives a serious problem in the reproduce the picture. The video detector frequency response. This is the how the video is detected uh, in the receiver system. Uh, the relative video detector output voltage, that is 2 volt output without receiver response correction, output when receiver response has correction form. So we have a slightly lower in the case of the response as correct form. Vestigial sideband receiver characteristics. This is the picture showing the how the relative transmission output and relative receiver output. In order to correct the amplitude corresponding to the DSP portion, double sideband, up to 1.25 megahertz, the receiver frequency response is shaped unevenly. The picture carrier is placed halfway down the response curve. The response curve is shaped in such a way that the total gain corresponding to a frequency on either side of the carrier is unity. Demerits of vestigial sideband. A small portion of the transmitted power is wasted in the vestigial sideband filters. Since the carrier level at a receiver is placed at 50%, the signal to noise ratio is degraded. Some phase and the amplitude distortion can be happen due to the receiver characteristics. More critical tuning at the receiver is required to special shape of the receiver characteristics. So these are the some demerits of the vestigial sideband. It is very complicated type of the transmission, and receiver is very effective type of receiver is required because of the receiver has a some noise in this signal. So this type of noise is removed from the signal is a very difficult task. Now we have a channel bandwidth to signal is transmit the from transmitter to receiver by a particular channel. So for calculating the bandwidth requirement, consider the chess board pattern as shown in the figure. This is the scanning spots, vertical bar pattern for determination of amplifier requirement. As the electron beam scans from the left to right, corresponding to a black area, low voltage level is produced. Corresponding to the white area, high voltage level is produced. We get an alternate peak and low voltages. So here the output of the horizontal resolution pulses. Now calculate the bandwidth requirement. The number of the peak per line equal to the number of the white areas. That is the horizontal resolution upon 2. Horizontal resolution is the 533 upon 2, that is the 267 approximate. That is the number of the cycles per line is equal to the 267. Period of one cycle is the active period of one line upon the number of the cycles. So channel bandwidth is the for video signal transmission is the 5 megahertz in the TV transmission system. Now we have a channel bandwidth for the different systems or different line system in the TV system. Bandwidth requirement in the different system, that is the 625 line system, having a highest modulating frequency is the 5 megahertz with the channel bandwidth is 7 megahertz. 525 line system has a highest modulating frequency is the 4 megahertz, that is the video bandwidth, and the channel bandwidth is the 6 megahertz. And 899, that is the French system, highest modulating frequency is the 10.4 megahertz and channel bandwidth is 14 megahertz. So these are the three systems. 625 line is used in the Asian countries, 525 line is used in the United States of America, and 819 line system is used by French. This is the channel bandwidth for Indian and European countries. TV channel sideband fixed spectrum. C is the color subcarrier frequency. This is the governed by the CCIR. This is the case for the TV system adopted by the UK TV channel standards. It has a channel bandwidth 8 megahertz. Guard band, sound signal, full upper sideband, vestigial sideband, picture, carrier, color carrier, and all information is given in this channel bandwidth system. And this is the American TV channel standards. This is the sideband spectrum of the two adjacent channel of the lower VHF band television station allocation. Now, bandwidth requirement for the color information. Bandwidth requirement for color resolution is chosen as 1.5 megahertz. This is because human eyes can perceive only the brightness for a small object rather the color. For large object, we can perceive the color and the brightness. The color detail can be accommodated in the 5 megahertz channel bandwidth. This is the positive and the negative modulation. If the intensity of the picture brightness cause increase in the amplitude of the modulated envelope, it is called positive modulation. If the intensity of the picture brightness cause decreases in the amplitude of the modulation, it is known as negative envelope. It is called negative modulation. Why negative modulation is used in the TV transmission system? Effect of the noise and interference on the picture signal is minimum. With positive modulation, signal for the white has maximum amplitude and hence maximum. Power causing transmitter to operate in the non-linear region and distortion. In the negative modulation, the maximum power is the corresponding to the blanking and the sync pulse. And the distortion is not a problem. Easy to separate the sync and the blanking pulses in the case of the negative modulation. Receiver get a stable reference for AGC, automatic control. So these are the main basic reason for negative modulation is used in the TV transmission system. On the basis of the fundamental theory of the TV, we have some multiple choice question. So question number one says that modulation is done in A, receiver, B, transducer, C, between transmitter and radio receiver, D, transmitter. Question two, in the TV transmission picture, signal is dash modulated. In TV transmission, sound signal is dash modulated. Square law modulators are A, used for the frequency modulation, B, used for pulse width modulation, C, used for amplitude modulation, D, used for phase modulation. Number 5. What is the role of a transmitter in the communication system? A, to decode a signal to be transmitted. B, to convert one form of the energy into the other. C, to detect and amplify the information signal from the carrier. D, to produce the radio waves to transmit data. Sixth number question, what is the maximum transmission efficiency? Question number 7, why a helical antenna is used for satellite tracking? A, because of its circular polarization. B, because of its broad bandwidth. C, because of its low bandwidth. D, because of the rectangular polarization. Question number 8, which of the one of the following noise become of the great importance at high frequency? A, flicker noise. B, short noise. C, impulse noise. D, transmit time noise. Question number 9, which of the broad classification of noise are most difficult to treat? A, noise generated in the receiver. B, noise generated in the transmitter. C, external noise. D, internal noise. Last question number 10, which of the steps is not included in the process of the receptions? A, encoding. B, decoding. C, demodulating. D, filtering. So today's lecture conclusion is that today we have discussed about the equalization pulses and need of the equalization pulses. After that, we have discussed the transmission efficiency and amplitude modulation, how the signal is transmitted or picture information is transmitted into the transmission system in the television system. And after that discussion of the AM, we have discussed a very important transmission technique, that is the vestigial transmission, sideband transmission in the TV system is used in the TV transmitter systems. So we have discussed the merits and demerits of the VSP, and we have also discussed the channel bandwidth for the different systems, how much the channel bandwidth frequency and carrier frequency is used at different television systems by adopted by different countries. At the last, we have discussed the negative and positive modulation techniques and why we use the negative modulation transmission technique in the TV system. So today's lecture is describe about the equalization and equalization pulses and the vestige side plan. Thank you.